welcome to a brand new episode of the TraxionGG podcast. I'm your host, Tom, and joining us today is John Munro. How are you, John?
I am very well, thank you, Tom. How are you?
Yeah, pleasure to have you here. What we're going to talk about today is Assetto Corsa Competizione again, because we did already do a podcast about this, basically just discussing the game in general and why it's so good. That was fun, wasn't it, John?
It was, although I've never heard of Assetto. Was it called Assetto Corsa Competizione? Sounds cool, but I'm
ACC.
intrigued to learn more about this game because I've never heard of it.
John is Traxion's resident ACC, for short, expert, and he's done about 1 million videos about the game on the YouTube channel.
I think about 1,000,004 by now, so
Right.
it's going well. I love that. I love that game. It's probably the game I played most outside of work, especially when Traxion was first launched. So it's been good fun making videos on it. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so there's also a load of articles on the TraxionGG website, because a lot of the game is a little tricky to get your head around, but also there's the minutiae of balance of performance, and so we have a lot of setup guides and tips and advice. But we thought this game had been out for a long time. I think it was 2018, maybe the initial release, or at least in early access, 2020 on PS4 and Xbox One. But we've just learned that there's going to be a load more stuff into 2022. It's still kicking. And so we're just going to discuss, go through each of the announcements and discuss our opinions. But first of all, John, how excited are you on a scale of 1 to 800 about new stuff coming for Assetto Corsa Competizione?
Probably around about 674.
674, quite high.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's not as if it's a new game coming out. You know, we have some new stuff for an existing game that's very fun already. So it's never going to be 800. But of all the games for new stuff to come out, this is one of the best because the quality of the game is so good, and any new content that comes to ACC, you can expect it to be strong. So no, I am genuinely excited about it.
Yeah, this game, and just to clarify, the curator did call it a game, so you can call it a game and a sim. That's not my words. That is the words of Marco Massaruto, who is the executive manager of Kunos Simulazione, the developer of the game. And Marco also described loads of new features coming to the game, and he touched upon that, yes, they're working on a new game, but it was kind of revealed in a financial document recently that there's probably going to be a sequel to the original Assetto Corsa, and obviously it's a long way away. So in lieu of that, I can understand your less than 800 rating there, but it's still up there. So I think the first thing, and arguably the biggest thing, at least on the face of it initially, was the fact that the game is coming natively to PlayStation 5 and on Xbox Series S and X in February 2022, the 24th, in fact, digitally and physical. And you also get a free upgrade if you already own it on PS4 and Xbox One, which is great. Now, I played it on PS4 quite a bit. I really enjoyed the handling and stuff, but the performance of the visuals was what let the game down when compared to the PC version. So now, what do you think, John, in terms of more people having access to a better looking version of the game?
Superb. I think the good thing about this is that the weakest thing about ACC in its current state is the console versions not being strong enough in terms of their performance. I'd say that's probably the biggest drawback to the game in terms of a mass market. So by announcing these next gen versions, it doesn't affect me personally because I don't have a next gen console. Sad cry time. But honestly, it's the most important thing because that is where the people who played the game on that side of things were missing out, and this basically fixes that, or I hope it will anyway. Judging by the sound of it, it's going to be good, and this will fix it. I'm really delighted for everyone on the console side that hopefully will now get to experience exactly what I've been able to experience for the past year or so.
Yes, obviously there's been a bit of patience on the part of the console community, but what I would say, based on the quick final version build of gameplay that we've seen around Spa, I thought that was very, very clever, actually, that they used Spa, because Spa was probably the worst track for performance on the console version. Overuse and Radeon sometimes would slow to a crawl, the frame rate. And so now it's just locked at 60, which, okay, you could have higher, but it's 60 at max detail and at 4K and constant. That's what they're targeting anyway. And I think that is what most players will just see as a smooth experience, which is brilliant. And also, it's worth bearing in mind that it will make use of the DualSense if you're using the controller on the PS5. it has generally enhanced detail. There's options that are on the PC version that were not on the console version, like small things like field of view options and saturation and contrast. They're all going to be prioritized across, and all DLC and save data will carry if you've already purchased that. I don't know, John. I think you should try it out on one of these on PS5, for example, in February when it comes out, and then we can maybe compare and contrast. What do you think to that?
I would love to do that, Tom. If you can lend me your PlayStation 5, that would be amazing. Maybe for 6 months or so. But yeah, I definitely do need to try it. I mean, like the important thing, as you said, was the fact that it's locked at 60, because yes, on PC you can reach 80 or maybe even 100 frames per second, but you'd rather have 60 constant than have 100 frames per second for 99% of the lap and then a little drop through Radeon, because I mean, of all the places you're going to drop frames, you don't want to drop it through there. So for me, the constant is the important part, and 60 is honestly fine. You, as you say, if you get used to 60, you won't really notice any issues there. So no, it's really important.
Yeah, there was also we were also part of like a media Q&A with Marco, and someone did ask about only 60 or something like this, and he was like, no, this is all you need for a fast-paced game like this. As long as it's stable, that's what we're aiming for. So as long as that's the case in the final version, I'm very happy with that. And I just feel like it will bring a more expensive experience to more people. There have been over 10 million PS5 sold. The Xbox Series is the best-selling, quickest-selling Xbox ever so far. And they're all sub $500 and pounds. And so we'll have to wait till we get hands-on until it's finished. But I'm like you say, if more people have access to a simulator of this sort and it does well, it just shows as well that more serious sims can survive on a console.
No, and you make a really, really good point there, because this basically, I mean, what we're trying to say here is the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Next Gen versions will be essentially running at the quality that a high spec PC would run at. And a high spec PC is a lot more expensive. So what you're effectively doing is opening this up to an entirely new market. I mean, most people who have PCs actually struggle with running ACC at high quality. You need a really good graphics card for it. So yeah, I think the potential is huge for this. And as you say, there's so many people buying these consoles at the moment, are trying to get their hands on them. It'll make such a difference. And I'm so thankful that the console players who love their sim racing will actually get a chance to experience the proper ACC, because they have been missing out.
Yeah, and I just generally don't think you should underestimate a console owner for not wanting something that's a bit more serious.
Agreed.
And the fact that this is the second Assetto Corsa game on the consoles proves that, if the first one didn't sell well enough on there, then they wouldn't have done ACC, and then they wouldn't have bothered upgrading it for the next current generation. There is a feature that's only on the consoles, and that is that you'll be able to do private lobbies for free alongside the server stuff, which you can already do on PC, which is very nice. That isn't coming to PC, apparently, confirmed in the Q&A session there, which is a bit of a shame. Also, it's not going to be cross-platform multiplayer, because Marco said it's because they don't run peer-to-peer. They run a server-based system. It's not possible, but fine by me. Private lobbies is a big get, I feel. If you knew some people, would you play some private lobbies, John? If you knew some people, I'm making it sound like you're a loner there. I didn't mean to be derogatory, sorry. You know what I mean? You'd have to have enough people with the game and the console to play it, but it's still a nice feature to have.
Absolutely. I mean, actually, if any of you guys have watched my ACC driver ratings guide, I did mention that it's a bit annoying you can't turn your ratings off in an online session, because then you can't really just have fun without it affecting things. And I've got a lot of teammates in sim racing, and we would love the opportunity to jump in a private lobby where you're not going to get your driver ratings ruined, and just go and have a laugh. Wipe each other out, do a demolition derby, all the stupid stuff that you can do in a racing game that you can't do in real life. Wheelbarrow racing with GT3s pushing GT4s along, like stuff like that. You can't really do it unless you completely don't give anything about the driver ratings, but you need to give something about the driver ratings if you're doing esports, because you need to have the numbers to qualify. So yeah, that's a great feature. I think it's gonna for friends who are maybe taking it a little bit less seriously, especially, that's gonna be fantastic, because they can race and probably turn the rules off and stuff and just have a bit of fun. I understand why it's not coming to PC though, Tom, because it did sound like they would have to basically redo the entire system. And I do like the way the system's set up, even though it's flawed. It is strong, and the connections and stuff are pretty good. So yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, it's fine by me on either way. I think the PC community will be quite happy with as it is at the minute, and this is an extra bonus for the console crowd. And the other thing is, John's got a great video on the Traxion YouTube channel called "The Future of Assetto Corsa Competizione," and we'll cover it in a second, because I feel like we nailed it. But the top comment on that is they might add another. Let's say if they added another 8 tracks, But the public server list will still be Spa, Monza, Monza, Spa, Nürburgring, Monza, Spa. So if you're a bit bored of that, then private lobbies, you can create your own thing, I guess. I thought that was quite a funny comment.
And I mean, does ring true in some senses, or people at least think that's the experience.
Yeah,
and
I exaggerating there.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the console side. But hang on a minute. What if you're already into Assetto Corsa Competizione on PC? So far, there's not much for you, right? But while it wasn't confirmed, a lot of the things weren't confirmed in concrete. We are allowed to talk about a lot of things that Marco was alluding to or hinting at. In essence, the game will still have new content and DLC coming next year. So just in general, that's a good thing, which we covered. But I'd like to run through a few of the things. First of all, BMW M4 GT3 confirmed for next year. Would you give that a spin, John?
Absolutely. We've already seen the success of the car and iRacing. We've seen that it's coming to R Factor 2 at some point. Absolutely. Any new GT3 car in ACC is welcome because the GT3 quality is so high and it will basically slot into every online race that uses them, which, to be honest, most people in ACC play in GT3 class. So 100% I'll be jumping straight in that. It'll be interesting to see if they make the M6 a slower car now because they want people to try the new BMW. I'm fascinated to see how that works. But yeah, you will see a lot of people jumping in it, and hopefully once they're able to kind of seamlessly merge it in with the class, and it'll become another car of choice for people. I don't really know what the characteristics are going to be like with it, but it's a cool looking car. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it is a cool looking car. The road car, I'd trying not to vomit, but when it's with the wings and the splitters and stuff, it's aggressive, isn't it?
Exactly. Cool. I totally agree. Like that grille, it obviously splits opinions, and I'm not keen on it at all. But as you say, as soon as you throw those massive bits of aero, it makes big aero can kind of make anything cool.
Yeah, I think so.
Within reason, and it just looks evil. It looks hungry. It looks angry. So I'm very keen for that.
Yeah, I also think this is. I mean, I won't go down this tangent too far, but this is a wider thing about German automakers, and one of them being BMW, actively trying to get their products into games and understanding and appreciating the value of racing games and simulators and esports, which is wonderful. ACC actually was just updated last week with a free livery for the M4 GT4, which came from a specific time attack esports thing you could do via the BMW website. There's a BMW bike in Rims and Ride 4 that's new for this year, and it's already in the game. So they're clearly pushing, and I'm very happy that Kunos is involved in part of that push. Now, some other new cars were also mentioned. We don't know what they are. The answer was quite guarded. But in 2022, there will be, the plan is, 6 to 7 new cars from an SRO licensed series. And Marco said, if you look at the SRO races, it's kind of no secret. So what do you think that could be? I've got a theory.
For anyone who watched our Future of ACC video, it was predicted that GT2s could be a likely class to come to the game. And I think it's a no-brainer, really. There's still GT cars. You've got GT3 and GT4. GT2s aren't faster than GT3, so it's not I don't think it's gonna undermine the GT3 cars. They are more powerful, but I don't think they're faster over a lap. And they look really cool. They sound really cool.
They look epic.
And when you count them, there's 4 purpose-built GT2 cars in the SRO Championship. I think you've got the KTM, you've got a Lamborghini, an Audi R8, and there's one other Porsche. Yeah, that's it. So there's 4 cars straight away. You've got the BMW coming, obviously the GT3, which makes 5, and they were saying 6 to 7 cars. It sounds about right. You might even see the likes of a Ferrari Challenge car coming in as well, because we did see one of those wild card in one of the GT2 races. So yeah, I think that might be a very good prediction. The only issue for me, if that is true, is that we're not going to see too many official liveries, because there's only been between 10 and 12 GT2 entries in each of the rounds so far. So there could be a bit, there might be a few missing liveries, but if there's custom liveries, we should be okay.
Yeah, I would not disagree with that theory. I don't know. This is not confirmed. Pure speculation, to be clear. But I don't know. That and those cars and the M4 GT3 are kind of the only sort of all new vehicles that are in SRO related rule sets of late.
Right. I mean, the only thing that we haven't really talked about that was touched on as an idea is potentially having touring cars, but I just don't see
Yeah, true.
Assetto Corsa Competizione going down the touring car route.
Mm,
Or at least I don't see them teasing that they're going to be bringing out something. I think if they were going to go down something like that, there would be a big spiel about it, and it would be, we're changing the game, or there'll be something big
yeah.
about it. Whereas because they're just kind of slipping in that there'll be some new cars and you can probably work it out, I assume it'll be sticking down the GT route. But let's wait and see. We don't know for sure.
Yeah, before you spit out your coffee, SRO does organise a touring car series in France, hence the link there. And also, another idea could be some more GT4 cars, because there
Of
are
course.
not there are some people who would like to see, like, the Supra, for example, that's not in there at the minute. Correct.
Yep.
Um,
The Jaguar is another one
the
that people
Jaguar.
would like to see. The Mustang is popular
Yeah.
as well. But that doesn't, I can't think of enough GT4 cars that would kind of bring that up to
Mm,
6 or 7. So if we're doing some conspiracy theories and we're
yeah.
properly looking into this, I think no brainer that it'll be GT2s. I would be interested though if they do include Ferrari Challenge, because I think that might be
Right.
something that people aren't expecting.
Interesting. We also know there's going to be at least one new circuit for the title. And when we're talking about circuits and cars, this is across all the platforms. So once the next gen versions are out, and obviously on PC. So first of all, not the Nordschleife. Come on, guys. It's not in the SRO licensing structure. They don't race there in real life. So Marco was very clear. He didn't even allude to, oh, maybe in the future. It was like, nah, it's not going to happen. But he did say that there will be a US-based track from the SRO lineup. I can't think of one immediately. I almost was going to say Laguna Seca, but it's already in the roster, right? Any ideas on an American track?
Now, we talked about a lot of ideas in the future of ACC video, and there are loads that I would like to see. Things that immediately spring to mind, I would love to see Road America, but I think it could be possibly Road Atlanta or maybe even Mid Ohio. Those are probably the ones that jump out to me as being the most likely. Virginia International Raceway would be interesting as well. But
that would be the one I would love more than any
really.
others.
Oh, see, for me, Road America and Road Atlanta are just brilliant. So I don't know.
I'm a
Either
hipster with
way,
it. I know people love Road America, and Road Atlanta. That first sector is really cool for me.
It's amazing.
I like VIR, but maybe I suppose I only like it if for all the weird little piddly variants you could get, and I don't think that's the ACC style to have the multiple different track layouts. For example, on the British GT Alton Park, you've only got the one, right?
Right, exactly. I mean, one thing I would say that it's possibly one of the few things from this presentation that I'm slightly disappointed with is I was kind of hoping for some sort of track pack, because for me, new tracks are arguably more exciting than new cars. Okay, a new class of cars exciting, and especially when there's multiple different ones, but I love trying the new tracks on ACC because it opens up to all the different classes. It can be raced in anything. And for me, I would have loved to have seen like an American track pack. I know it's not easy. I know there's a lot going on at the moment in the world that could make that difficult too.
Right.
So yeah, maybe I would have taken 4 tracks and less cars rather than more cars. But that's a very minor point. I'm still excited to see whatever track comes out, because a lot of the American tracks are really, really exciting to drive on. So it'll be good no matter what.
I mean, what's to say that won't happen further into the year?
No, absolutely.
Certainly at the minute, though, it just sounds like one circuit. And again, we'll let you know as soon as we get any confirmation on that.
Oh, Watkins Glen, maybe. That's another one that would be good fun.
Oh, yeah.
Is that an SRO track?
Oh, I don't know.
I think it is.
I don't know. If it is, then that'll be good. The only thing Marco did say, was it would be surprising.
Okay.
But if it's within the SRO lineup, then
it can't really be too much of a surprise.
Yeah, maybe I have different interpretation of the word surprising.
I don't think it's going to be the Indy 500 layout, put it that way.
No, I don't think so. There's a couple of other things for the game, especially on the PC side, which I'll just rattle off quickly. Not confirmed that it's going to be finished, but they are working or developing on the telemetry support for the cool Thrustmaster SF1000 wheel add-on, which we've had a go on. We've got a review of that, and it works with Race Room and iRacing and Formula One at the minute, so it would kind of make sense if Kunos worked on that as well. And also, there was chat about ray tracing. It's not coming to any platform. They are going to support NVIDIA's DLSS, which is like using machine learning to deliver higher detail when higher frame rates are set on PC, but obviously only for those with RTX cards. So just to cover off some PC tech hardware talk there. Just in general, though, things are looking up for Assetto Corsa Competizione. We might have felt that it was winding down a bit, but no, 2022 is coming back with a vengeance.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad that they've come out and said this, because obviously there's lots of other movements going on within Kuno Simulazione at the moment, obviously with the sight of AC2 potentially in the future and all the other developments. So I really thought ACC might be on the back burner for another 6 months or so. And it was really, really refreshing to see that they're still fully working on it and there's going to be more stuff coming, because I think that's going to keep a lot of fans entertained for the next few years until they even think about any kind of follow-up. But no, very, very much thumbs up from me to Kunos. Well done.
Yeah, I'm just going to mention one small thing. The 2021 GT World Challenge liveries were added to the PC version very recently. And whenever they tweet about it or post to Facebook, all the top comments are, oh, but what about the console versions? Come on, what about the console versions? No date, but it was confirmed that they'll be coming at some point to the console version. So they're working on it. Just a little bit of patience.
Just breathe. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's going to happen. No probs. And the other thing, just to go back to the PS5 and Xbox versions, if you haven't already bought the game on the previous generation and you buy the new version, it will come not with the DLC, I believe, included, but it will come with the 2020 GT World Challenge DLC pack, which had Imola. That is included as the day one edition. So there is at least something as an incentive. But obviously, the rest of the DLC and the Season Pass is still Season Pass. Still pay for it, like every other platform.
Definitely. We need to also make it clear, Tom, that for anyone on the PS, I know you mentioned it earlier, but it's really good that for those who own the game on the older generation of console, will get a free upgrade to the new generation. I think that's a big thing. And also maybe, I know it's becoming more common nowadays in the gaming industry, but maybe a little sign that they're aware that the previous console version wasn't quite up to the standard that people were hoping for. And it's a way of going, well, here you go. You can stop complaining now.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. That's how I'm going to access the PS5 version. I have it already as a digital copy on PS4, so I'll just boot it up and either it will download a patch. I don't think it will download a patch. I think it will be on the Xbox. It'd be like it downloads a patch through their smart delivery system. On PlayStation, it would be you just go to the store. The PS5 version will be there. You just add it to your library for free and download it. I would suspect, but we'll see in February. And there have been some recent free upgrades for games onto the new gen systems. For example, WRC 9, where the save data you'd already accrued didn't carry across. But this is not the case with the Assetto Corsa Competizione. So if you've finished a lot of stuff in there or you're halfway through the single player, fret not, it will transfer across, which is wonderful. So we've covered all the potential stuff coming to the PC version and PS5, Xbox Series version next year. We've got the new console versions themselves, but then there's also the weird curveball of Assetto Corsa Mobile. Now, John, I don't know what to think about this game. When this podcast releases, we're under embargo for our gameplay impressions of the game, but what I will say is there will be a review on the release date of the game, which is 31st of August, so stay tuned for that. So obviously we're not going to pass on our impressions, although I haven't played it and John hasn't played it. So Justin's doing the review. So we can't, but just generally about a mobile version of Assetto Corsa, I don't know. I feel a little bit uneasy, but you might feel different.
Yeah, well, let's vaguely speculate, Tom. I think the raw appeal of ACC is the gameplay on a wheel and the enjoyment you can get out of it because of how realistic it is. I don't think the enjoyment is the single player story part of it or the other parts.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
So if it's going to be a good mobile game, they either need to bring in something new that makes it interesting, or they need to absolutely somehow nail the feeling of the gameplay, but on a mobile device, which I think is going to be tricky, but I cannot possibly comment on whether they've nailed it or not. It might be the best thing ever, but let's wait and see. I don't want to be harsh about it or anything, obviously, because I haven't tried it. So it's completely up in the air, but I expect it to be a little bit of fun, but a totally different experience from the proper version. But, who knows? Yeah,
we're going into it open-minded. I think the key thing with this game is to put it into context or perspective. I think if you're an Assetto Corsa or Assetto Corsa Competizione player and you've got a cockpit and a sim rig and you're mad into it, and then you expect the similar level of handling fidelity on your mobile phone, then I think that's an expectation thing that's out of whack. However, if you're into racing games and you're looking for something a bit more serious on the go while you've got a commute or you're on a plane, then I don't think there's any harm in Assetto Corsa being a game that you would play, right? At least
totally agree.
From the look of it, it doesn't look like a CSR Racing 2 ripoff, so it's drag racing. It's not drag racing like Project Cars Go was kind of, right?
Yeah, there's a bit more to it than that. Yeah.
You're actually driving it around the track, you're handling, you're braking. Now there's a load of assists. There's 3 ways you can steer, I believe. Tilt, tap, or like with your thumb, be very smooth slide your thumb over a screen, which might be the preferred one, I think, in theory. And there's also quite a lot of content in there. There's going to be 59 vehicles, 9 circuits, and 6 game modes. So it's pared down, but it's not like, oh, there's only six cars in here, or there's only 1 circuit. And the cars and the circuits are all real-world licensed stuff. So that's also kind of promising. Yeah, I don't know. I'll kind of run out to see on the AC Mobile. Sorry, not ACC, AC Mobile.
I would definitely love to try it. Very intrigued to see what it's going to be like, but I'm not going to say anything beyond that because who knows? Yeah,
who knows? I think, to be clear, it's not been developed by Kuno Simulazione. I actually kind of like the idea in principle because why not? We were saying earlier, well, a game can be serious on a console, so let's try it on a mobile being serious as well, and then we'll judge it later. We'll see what the community says. One thing of note, which was slightly disappointing from my side, from the reveal presentation and everything, was that this is only coming to iOS for now. They're not ruling out Android or Google Play, but there's no confirmation that they're even developing it for that at the minute. But iOS fans, you can play on your phone or your iPad. Happy days.
Yeah, test some of that iDirect iDrive out, and we should be all right.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay,
it wasn't brilliant, Tom. Don't lie.
Well, that's true.
On that note,
yeah. I think that's the end of the podcast, everybody. Before we go, just generally, I think it's positive to see Kunos pushing on and listening to community feedback and providing the game series to more people. Let's say if they play on mobile, they might buy the console version further down the line. If they play on a console, they might upgrade to a full rig at some point or enter a league, for example.
Absolutely.
Cool. Right. So that's, in summary, why we're excited for what's going to happen to Assetto Corsa Competizione in 2022. John's, what was it, 675 out of 800?
674, I believe, although I need to listen to it back.
Yeah. I'm going to say 700 out of all this stuff. Hey, mobile games, it might not be for you, but that's fine. You don't have to play it. And there'll be someone who does play it who gets into Assetto Corsa, and eventually they might play on a league race, which is brilliant.
Very important point as well. Very, very well said. Yeah, it could bring in new fans to the game, and that's what we all want, isn't it? The more people playing, the better it is for everyone. Yeah,
so we'd like to hear your feedback in the comments below on YouTube, or if you're listening to the audio podcast on the TraxionGG website, because we'll do a lot more Assetto Corsa Competizione content as the new stuff comes out. So stay tuned for our mobile review. Tomorrow, in early 2022, we'll be covering all the new cars, tracks, console versions. So we'd like to know if you've got any questions, any ideas, please, we really would help us out. John will be reading all the comments, right, and getting loads of YouTube ideas.
Absolutely. I live in those comments, so make sure you leave them, and I will be sure to get back to as many of you as possible.
No worries. Please do like and subscribe on YouTube, and subscribe and follow on audio platforms, because, hey, it's free and it helps us create more content, because we can then say to people, hey, more people listen to us. It's a virtuous circle for everybody involved. And visit TraxionGG on a daily basis. Follow Traxion on social media at TraxionGG. Anything else to say, John? Or are we going home?
Nope, still no Nordschleifer, I'm afraid.
Right. And on that note, keep it pinned.